If COVID never happened, what all would have you done in on past 4 months? I would have taken a kick-ass trip to Japan, which would have been way outside of my budget. Take my Vietnamese girlfriend to Vietnam for 2 weeks. She hasn't been there since she was 5 years old, and proposed to her. Thanks COVID. PS I proposed here in the States anyway. She said yes. Honestly, I'd probably just find something else to complain about. As terrible as it sounds, I'm low-key glad COVID happened. Glad isn't the right word, but the silver lining of it is that it has made me realize a lot. One of that being loneliness. That I'm not as much of a homebody as I thought I was. That things could be a lot worse. We're finally starting back our in-person play in 2 weeks and I'm super excited. Thankfully we just have a small party of 4 and a big space to play in. I have missed D&D for a while now. Same, we are about to start up our 4-person party again, and it has been a couple months and we are all scheming and planning the entire time. Oh absolutely, the scheming has been happening over time. We actually finished a 3-year IRL time campaign in May of 2019 and we all hit level 20, so it has been over a year since we have played as a group. We have been doing other games from time to time, e.g. Monster of the Week, but it will be so nice to play D&D as a group once again. Our new campaign is set in the same homebrew world, 20 years in the future. I hear you. I've been independent from my parents for years now, but this was going to be the year I finally felt like an adult. I was under contract to buy my first house when I got laid off and the mortgage fell through. I was just starting to feel like I had my shit together. The year before I had made more money than any previous by a long shot and had no reason to think it wouldn't continue to be good. I would have been working. I would have been buying stuff for my new house. I had a trip to Europe planned for May. I had no idea how much I was taking for granted. Now I just sit on my ass in my overcrowded apartment and collect unemployment. It pays the bills, but I was so hyped to thrive financially instead of just making do. I just graduated college in May with a degree that relates to business within the entertainment industry. I had to move back home with my parents in another state just because the jobs weren't in the city I was in all of the sudden. It really sucks. I've applied to what I can just about every day, but the jobs just aren't there. I was ready to move on with my life and really be an adult, have a job, get married, have a dog in the backyard, all that jazz, but now it's on hold while I go back to sharing a bathroom with my siblings like in elementary school. It really sucks. I would be working a part-time job in a failing weed shop which probably would have been shut down by now. Instead, I'm now the manager, have fixed nearly 100 issues I inherited from the previous manager, store sales have improved greatly, and I suddenly have a career. All thanks to the global pandemic. Yay. Edit. Holy hell, this escalated quick. I'll do my best to answer these questions during my downtime between customers. Edit 2. Location, Canada. How I became manager. COVID-19 hits and I am the first of the 4 workers to be laid off, during the morning of what I then expected to be my last shift. 1 week later. The original manager has children, so when everything was shut down the owner laid her off so she could apply for CERB, take care of her kids, and lose very little income. Assistant manager, now set to take over the store after cannabis is deemed essential, doesn't know or didn't care about CERB, makes a fuss about being laid off, and has not taken his training seriously. I receive a call from the owner asking if I would be willing to come back to work as he no longer trusts the AM to not do anything stupid. The next morning I am informed that AM has been laid off, and going forward I will be the acting manager. The dispensaries here in CO have been killing it during this time. Every time I go to one I'm waiting a good bit, and I shop at a few stores around town. One of the buttenders at one of the shops said she's never made more in tips ever. I would not be alive. I was planning to commit suicide. I would have been dead before the lockdown, but when everything shut down I had met someone and I immediately felt comfortable around them, and I was able to vent and release years of bottled up emotions, and she helped me work through things one at a time, which started giving me hope that maybe I'm worth something. For me the COVID thing brought stuff to a head and I got hospitalized in a mental health unit. Ended up moving back in with my parents. I had been basically squatting in a house with a hole in the roof, intermittent work, mentally unwell, no running water, no heat for years, and then the ceiling collapsed. I'd been too afraid to tell my parents how we were living because they can be unpredictable and I wasn't living up to my standards. To my surprise they were really awesome, are seriously helping me out, and are buying us a house. Things are still hard but I think they're getting better. Before COVID hit, I accepted a job across the country being a rock climbing instructor for a Boy Scout camp. I put in my notice, moved in with my BF's family for the few weeks leading up to moving to the camp. Everything fell through. Lost the old job and the new one never started. Moved out of the house I was renting. Drained my savings in the move and subsequent months. Now I've started IT courses online, realized I love tech, and fixing tech, lost 20 pounds, and my BF and I are planning to start living on the road full-time, RV life. Life has never gone the way I planned. Not once, but I'm kind of happy with what I'm aiming for now. I would have some of the vision that I lost, because I spent months trying to find a neuro-ophthalmologist that would see me after I started going blind. That would be cool. But now I get to learn some interesting new skills like, find a new career that can be done when legally blind, and, don't walk into things that you can't see. It's an adventure. Well, that just gave me a healthy dose of perspective on rereading before posting. That wasn't a vision joke, but I'm leaving it because you seem like you'll appreciate it, as my reply was going to be, I'd have had my stoma reversal surgery and so wouldn't still have an inch of colon hanging out the side of my stomach shitting into a bag. But this is still temporary for me, whereas yours sounds pretty permanent and like it sucks. But you seem to have kept some humor, and I suspect that's a pretty hard thing to have done, so kudos. This was supposed to be the year of big positive life changes for me. I graduated with my MFA in theatre, which would have happened in person, and I would have gotten to see my family and celebrate with my cohort in person. I would have been a bridesmaid in one of my best friend's wedding. I also haven't seen her in person since 2018, so that would have been nice to see her. The first full production of one of my plays would have gone up in NYC. I would have had my own wedding. We got legally married last year, but still haven't had our wedding. Now we won't until probably 2022, at which point it's more like a vow renewal. My husband and I would have moved out of this damn studio to a place with a bigger kitchen and more space for our kitty to run around, but now we're stuck here for another year. I probably would have been able to get a job as a theater administrator or teacher and wouldn't feel like a useless couch lump, so yeah, this year can go to hell. I'm ready for 2021, and it better be better than this. The bar isn't that high. Was supposed to get married May 22nd and then head to Italy for the honeymoon a few days later. Push the wedding back to 10 halves, thinking, no way we would be in the same situation in 4.5 months. Well, I live in CA and I think you all know that is far from the case. Still planning on getting married 10 halves, but it will be in my parents' backyard and will be very small. Already made all our payments for the big celebrations, so that will still be happening at the venue in May-June 2021, with the honeymoon to follow mid-June. There is no mandate yet that says we cannot have a large gathering on 10 halves, but we are moving it so that our at-risk relatives can attend. All my grandparents are gone, but she has all hers, and it would be a death sentence if they got COVID. Best part is that since there is no mandate at this time, the venue is saying per their contract we need to pay them $2,500 to reschedule for next year. Safe to say that everyone we tell this to is completely shocked they would ask for more money given the situation. We are fighting it, but anticipate that we will have to pay it. If that happens, I am very much looking forward to writing them a review. Family and friends have already said they will do the same. Probably wouldn't have lost my best friend. It's like I barely know them anymore, and it makes me wonder if we were really best friends, in person. I think yes. But I never get reached out to, nor do they reciprocate anything when I try to text them or show that I really care for them. It's so confusing. They leave for college tomorrow anyways, I have to wait another month, so in my head I guess we're not really anything anymore. I'm tired of reaching out first all the time like I'm playing Minesweeper, and with them meeting new people, I highly doubt they'll reach out. In the end, it was nice when I felt like I finally found someone who gets me and everything, and vice versa, but then 2 months into the pandemic and boom, it's like whole other person. And to think at one point we were planning on going to Spain for a senior trip together, LMAO, loudly crying. I most likely would have continued to stay overweight, as I had much easier access to eating out and would use school as an excuse to not work out. With the COVID quarantine, the boredom actually led me to work out a lot more, which also led me to eating better, and I am happy to say I've lost 14 pounds from when I first started this 3 months ago. Here is a list of things me and wife did do. You'll see why. We got married in a backyard Airbnb with our moms. It was what we wanted from the beginning. But in the whole wedding process it had blown up to become a dream wedding complete with prime rib. Something I could have never have afforded had it not been presented to me in such a lovely fashion. Long story short, 30k wedding for under 12k because of a surprise win at the venue, which was a ploy to get the rental for free but only if you use their vendors. I quit my job of 10 years to take a chance on a new job. I put in notice on March 2nd. I left March 19th. My state lockdown happens the next day. March 23rd I'm informed my new position is on hold till crisis is over. So, I've become a bonsai and raised bed garden enthusiast. In the middle of summer. In Phoenix. Yeah, I went to college. So, my wife has worked from home since COVID. She loves working from home. But hates that I'm home all day. So I should get a job, right? But I shouldn't. Among all of this, I know the day I left my work because it was March 17th when my fiancée at the time told me she was pregnant. I'm having a baby and I just quit my job. Great. I can't get a job because I'm here taking care of her. And the house. And the dogs. And tortoises. What job should I get now? Majority of easy jobs to get a frontline. Not risking my health or my family's. Work from home. 900 SQFT 2BDRM apartment. Two people can't work from home in the same space we have right now. So we need a new place. Time to house hunt during a pandemic, so we bought a house. My wife has never set foot in her future home and I've only been in it once for about 2 minutes. Yes, I did enough research, it is good. Killer deal. We move in 3 weeks. Ugh, not to mention all the lost money from buying the suits. The dresses. The flowers. They were all practically fully paid for since the wedding was April 5th. Less than 2 weeks away. We were able to get about 40 refunded. Most wouldn't budge because it was us choosing to change our date, so they would apply it to the new date but no refund, no tie. Don't need to have a 12K first birthday for our new baby. They really suggested that. I'm not mad, truthfully. Impressed as a human. But as a customer was not something I wanted to hear the day after the cancelled wedding. So let's recap. During this pandemic I have planned and cancelled a wedding. Left a job for a new job that has been put on hold. Bought a house my wife has never seen in person. Listened to my son's heartbeat for the first time on Facebook Messenger. That last one I'll never be able to replace.